The red dragon Marcus stood in front of the bathroom mirror, his reflection blurred by steam from the shower he'd forced himself to take in the building's unpredictable hot water. Monday morning. The red dragon. Vincent Zhao. He dressed carefully, his one good shirt, dark blue, the collar slightly frayed but clean. His father's watch, the only thing his mother had saved from the factory, sat heavy on his wrist. The hands had stopped at 3:47, the exact moment of the accident, or whatever it had really been. The apartment felt different in the gray morning light. The sketches from last night lay scattered across the card table. His father's face, half remembered and half invented. The factory, those reaching hands. Marcus gathered them into his sketchbook, then hesitated. Should he bring it? Vincent had said to come alone, but the sketchbook was part of him, an extension of his hands. He left it on the table. Downstairs, Mrs. Rodriguez was sweeping the hallway, her small frame bent over the broom with determined efficiency. "You look like you're going to a funeral," she said, not looking up. "Just a meeting." She stopped sweeping, leaned on the broom, and fixed him with dark eyes that had seen too much of life to be fooled by half-truths. "The kind of meeting where a boy wears his father's watch?" Marcus touched the watch instinctively. "How did you—" "I know a dead man's watch when I see one." She resumed sweeping, but her voice softened. "My husband's things, I kept them all, for years, until I realized I was living with ghosts instead of memories." She paused at her door. "Whatever you're walking into, Mijo, remember, the dead can't protect you. Only the living can do that." The subway was packed with Monday morning commuters, bodies pressed together in the artificial intimacy of the rush hour. Marcus stood wedged between a businessman reading the Times and a woman in a hospital uniform who smelled of antiseptic and exhaustion. The train lurched and swayed, carrying him deeper into Manhattan, toward Chinatown, toward answers he wasn't sure he wanted. He emerged at Canal Street into a different world. The morning air was thick with the smell of fish from the markets, roasted duck hanging in windows, incense from temple doorways. Signs in Chinese characters covered every surface, and the rapid-fire Cantonese around him reminded him of his mother's voice, the language she'd spoken on the phone to relatives in Hong Kong, the words he'd never quite learned. The Red Dragon sat on a narrow street off Mott, squeezed between a produce market and a shop selling paper lanterns. The restaurant's facade was modest, red paint peeling around a dragon carved into the doorframe, windows covered with translucent paper that glowed with interior light. A small sign in English and Chinese announced it was closed until lunch. Marcus checked his father's watch, 11:45, 15 minutes early. He stood across the street, watching, trying to calm the acceleration of his heartbeat. A delivery truck rumbled past. An old woman shuffled by with a cart full of vegetables. Two men in dark suits entered the restaurant, moving with the casual authority of people who belonged. Connected, Jimmy had said. What had his father been connected to? At exactly noon, the restaurant door opened. A young man stepped out. Early 20s, sharp suit, sharper eyes that scanned the street with professional efficiency. He looked directly at Marcus. "Mr. Chen?" His English was unaccented, pure New York. "Mr. Zhao is waiting." Marcus crossed the street, his legs moving automatically while his mind screamed warnings. The young man held the door open, and Marcus stepped into the Red Dragon. The interior was dim, lit by red paper lanterns that cast everything in a warm, bloody glow. Round tables filled the space, chairs stacked on top of them except for one table in the back corner. A man sat there alone, a teapot and 2 cups arranged before him with precise symmetry. Vincent Zhao was smaller than Marcus had imagined from the phone call. Slight build, gray suit that hung perfectly on narrow shoulders, wire-rimmed glasses catching the lantern light. His face was angular, weathered, with the kind of lines that came from years of careful calculation. He might have been 50 or 70. Age sat strangely on him. "Marcus Chen." Vincent stood, gestured to the chair across from him. "You look like your mother? Sit? Tea?" Marcus sat. The chair faced the door. Had Vincent deliberately taken the seat with his back to it? A show of trust or a test? "You knew my mother?" "I knew of her." Vincent poured tea with steady hands, the amber liquid streaming into both cups. "Your father spoke of her often, the beautiful woman from Hong Kong who made him believe in second chances." He pushed a cup toward Marcus. Drink. It's just tea. If I wanted you dead, you wouldn't have made it through the door. The casualness of the statement chilled Marcus more than the threat. He lifted the cup, let the steam warm his face, but didn't drink. Vincent smiled, a thin expression that didn't reach his eyes. Smart. Your father was smart too. Not smart enough, but smart. He sipped his own tea. You want to know how he died? It wasn't a question. My mother said it was an accident at the factory, a machine malfunction. Your mother lied to protect you. Vincent set down his cup with a soft click. Thomas Chen didn't die in a factory accident. He was murdered. The word hung in the red-lit air between them. Marcus's hands tightened around his cup. Who? That's complicated. Vincent leaned back, his fingers steepled. Your father worked at the Consolidated Printing Company, yes, but that was his cover. His real work was different, more dangerous. What are you talking about? Your father was a courier, Marcus. He moved information, documents, money, things that needed to travel between certain parties without official notice. He was very good at it, invisible. A man who could walk through Chinatown, Little Italy, the Bronx, and never be questioned because he belonged everywhere and nowhere. Marcus felt the room tilt. That's impossible. He was a printer. He was a printer who happened to have friends in interesting places, who happened to speak Cantonese, English, and enough Italian to get by, who happened to need money because he had a wife and a baby son, and factory wages weren't enough. Vincent's voice was matter-of-fact, reciting history. I recruited him, 1964. He worked for me for 5 years. Worked for you doing what? Moving money, mostly, from the docks to various establishments. Gambling receipts, protection payments, business transactions that couldn't go through banks. Vincent refilled his cup. Nothing violent. Your father wasn't a soldier. He was a facilitator, a bridge between communities. And someone killed him for that? Someone killed him because he saw something he shouldn't have. Vincent's expression hardened. A shipment came through the docks in January of '69. Heroin, a lot of it. Your father was making a routine pickup at a warehouse, but he arrived early. Saw faces he wasn't supposed to see, heard names he wasn't supposed to hear. He was smart enough to leave quickly, but not smart enough to hide what he knew. Marcus's throat was dry. He finally drank the tea. It was cold now, bitter. The factory accident was arranged, Vincent continued. A machine malfunction that crushed him. Quick, clean, looked legitimate. Your mother knew, not the details, but she knew it wasn't random. I offered her money, protection. She refused, took you and disappeared to San Francisco within a week. Why are you telling me this now? He's been dead for 20 years. Because your father was careful. Before he died, he gave me something for safekeeping. Documents, names, evidence of the heroin operation, the people involved, the money trail. Vincent reached into his jacket, Marcus tensed, and pulled out a small key. He made me promise that if anything happened to him, I would hold on to it until his son was old enough to decide what to do with it. The key lay on the table between them, brass catching the red light. Why would he do that? I was 5 years old. Because he loved you. Because he wanted you to have a choice he never had, whether to let the past stay buried or to dig it up. Vincent pushed the key across the table. This opens a safety deposit box at the Chinatown Savings Bank on East Broadway, box 247. Everything your father collected is inside. Marcus stared at the key. It was small, ordinary, the kind that could open 1,000 different locks. What's in the box? Names, dates, photographs. Enough to destroy several important people if it ever became public. Vincent's voice was soft, almost gentle. Enough to get you killed if the wrong people learn you have it. Then why give it to me? Because I made a promise to your father. Because I'm old and tired and I've carried his secrets long enough. Vincent stood, straightening his jacket. Take it or leave it, Marcus, but decide quickly. I'm not the only one who knew your father was gathering insurance. There are people who've spent 20 years wondering if he left anything behind, and now you're in New York, asking questions, making yourself visible. Marcus picked up the key. It was warm from Vincent's pocket, surprisingly heavy. You said you recruited my father. What does that make you? A man who's survived by knowing when to hold secrets and when to let them go. Vincent walked toward the door, then paused. Your father was a good man in a bad situation. He tried to protect his family the only way he knew how. Whatever you decide to do with what he left you, remember that. The young man in the suit appeared, opening the door. Vincent stepped out into the bright midday sun, and then he was gone, disappeared into the Chinatown crowds as if he'd never existed. Marcus sat alone in the empty restaurant, red lanterns swaying slightly in the air from the closing door. The key felt like it was burning a hole in his palm. The restaurant owner emerged from the kitchen, an elderly man with a face like carved wood, expression unreadable. "You should go now," he said in accented English, "and you should be careful. The Red Dragon sees many things, but we speak of none of them." Marcus stood, legs unsteady. He walked out into the street, and the noise and light of Chinatown crashed over him. Vendors calling, cars honking, the smell of food and incense and humanity pressed together. He had a key. He had answers that raised 100 new questions. He had a choice. And somewhere, in this city, people who had killed his father might be watching. Marcus checked his father's watch, 12:47. The hands were still frozen at 3:47, but time was moving forward whether he was ready or not. He had to visit the Bronx Youth Alliance this afternoon, had to start his print shop job tomorrow, had to pretend his life was normal while carrying secrets that could get him killed. He walked toward the subway, the key clutched in his fist, his father's ghost walking beside him through the crowded streets.
Thanks for watching our stories. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more epic adventures. Thanks for watching our stories. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more epic adventures.